Thank you, Excellency. Good morning. I'm Senator LOREN LEGARDA, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Climate Change, Foreign Relations, and the Committee on Finance. Those are three separate committees. I've a long story to tell, but I'll try to limit it to 2 minutes, and I'd request the chair to raise your hand when it's 2 minutes. I'd like to observe that, to give a chance to everybody else. As you know, I come from a country which is vulnerable, deemed as one of the 3 top vulnerable nations in the world, where in November 8 of 2013, Typhoon Haiyan or Yolanda unleashed its wrath, which took the lives of more than 8,000 people, which washed away at least 4% of our GDP, and our annual economic losses is at least 0.5% of GDP. I chair the Committee on Finance, so I know how difficult it is not to be able to invest in disaster risk reduction. But I believe that for every dollar invested in DRR, we save $7. And so as the UNISDR Global Champion for DRR and CCAM, I've tried to mainstream disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation in our national budget. We're very proud to say that for the past 3 years, as I chair the Finance Committee of the 3.7 trillion Philippine peso budget, we do tagging of budget with regards to climate. We've mainstreamed DRR, CCAM, or resilience in not just the Environment Department, Agriculture, but almost all government agencies. In my 3 terms in the Senate, we've also authored environmental laws from clean air, ecological solid waste, the Climate Change Act, the People's Survival Fund, the Clean Water Act. But all of these policies, while lauded and good, are meaningless if our people remain not resilient, remain vulnerable, like the pictures we have from Fiji and all over the world, because more than 20 natural hazards, typhoons, hit our country every year. And so, as I said yesterday in the IKI meeting, 10th anniversary, the most important thing is to institutionalize local climate action or resilience. And the way forward is also to make sure that the big industrialized developed nations, while some have committed to veering away from coal, would actually walk their talk, because small island nations, vulnerable nations, are affected. 1/3 of 1%, 0.3% is the Philippines. Other African nations, small island states, are also vulnerable. And so while local community action is important, so that we have a proof of concept of how resilience can really sustain livelihoods, veering away from coal, of the biggest polluters, and proving that sustainability and sustainable development can actually mean more jobs. It will not mean the loss of livelihoods. And so that's the way to go forward. I can say more, but I think my 2 minutes is up. And I would just like to state that the Philippines joins everyone to make sure that what is discussed, not just in our Talanoa dialogue, but in the coming days of intercessions as we go on to Poland, would benefit our countries and as we do our NDCs. And let me end by the commitment of the Philippines for a 70%, a very ambitious INDC, which we're doing into NDC, conditional, nationally determined commitment. While we're only, as I said, 0.3% or 1/3 of 1%, we vow to try to mitigate, conditionally, of course, and technical assistance, because we believe that mitigation is a function of adaptation, to build resilience for our country, both nationally, subnationally, and locally as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this.